Hello, 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 hello.
Welcome to Popcorn Tribunal After Hours.
Welcome to Popcorn Tribunal, the political announcement. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, first of all, we are first and foremost a movie and pop culture podcast. Rest in peace, Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah, what the hell?
Holy shit. So apparently she had a kidney transplant. A liver transplant.
Yeah.
And apparently passed away, they believe, from complications.
Yep. 39.
That's crazy.
I didn't think she was that young.
I didn't think she was that old.
Oh, really?
I thought she was a little kid when she was in Buffy.
I mean, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
That was 6 years
Well,
ago.
rest in peace, Michelle. Wow. Okay.
She was a teenager.
Let's start this one off on a positive note.
Yeah, right?
Jesus. Well, hey, celebrity deaths happen in threes.
You're biting my tongue.
Let's not get
so
too
much.
excited.
Is he really a celebrity?
Depends on who we're talking about.
Which one? The Apprentice? Or
I mean, he did star in a reality TV show. So he's at least a D-list celebrity. Okay, moving on. We're moving on.
Is his puppet?
To the Secret Service agent listening to this episode, we don't know what he's talking about.
I have no idea.
So, yeah. All right. Well, things look a little different tonight. It's just me sitting here at the table along with producer Chris. There is nothing to be read by that. We were done recording for season 6, and I decided I need to record a kind of end of season 6 episode. This has been a weird season for us, and there's been a couple of reasons why it was a weird season. So I'm just going to jump right in and talk a little bit about that. First of all, both our co-host and our producer have suffered some great losses in their family over the course of the year. And that put a damper on our ability to record quite a bit of episodes. It's one of the worst flu seasons. So there was a lot of sickness going around this year. So unfortunately, this season is going to be a little short of the planned 23 episodes. And we're okay with that. We're okay with that because we got through it. We made it. We're here. And you guys are all here with us. So we appreciate that. And we thank you for that. Yes, season 7 is going to happen. We have no plans of ending the podcast unless my producer looks at me right now and says, I'm done. I quit. Oh, he said it, but I don't know that he means it.
I wasn't looking at you. So
Gotcha. Okay. So, first of all, big shout out to our partners at Glitch Energy and Space Panda Delta for this year. Once again, you can go to glitchenergy.com or spacepandadelta.com and use code POPCORN to save 20% off of your purchase. That's one way to help support our indie podcast. We want to thank them for being with us throughout the season. We also want to thank Poppin' the Pepper Hot Sauce, poppinthepepper.com. Good friends of the show, excellent hot sauces. They won so many awards this year, I can't even name them all. So check them out, help support them. And then help support our producer, Chris, coffeedudescoffee.com. He's got like 75 other domains that I'll point to it. I'll let him list them however he wants. He can run them on the screen, whatever he wants to do.
Just have a Star Wars type.
Yes, a scroll.
Scroll. Words.
Oh, what do they call it? A crawl? Isn't that?
Yeah,
what
there
it's
we go.
called?
The
Yeah,
crawl.
crawl. Yeah. So you get a little bit of business out of the way. Visit popcorntribunal.com. Read some of the reviews written by Jeffrey up there. He had some work that he couldn't go see a lot of movies, but he's going to start ramping up his reviews. We're also trying to get him Rotten Tomatoes certified this year, which would be awesome for him. So go show him some love. And then you can also visit our partners page there and see Lego and Guardian PC, Ancestry.com, some of our other partners that we work with. Sonos right now having a 25% off like everything sale. It's pretty crazy. So go click our link on our partners page. Show the indie podcast a little bit of love. I also want to shout out Good Pods. If you aren't familiar with Good Pods, they're like a social network for podcasts. So if you listen to us, you listen to podcasts. It's a podcast directory that allows you to listen to any podcast that you listen to. You can write reviews for the podcast. But the coolest thing about it is, just like on any of the other sources of social media. You can share specific episodes that you really liked. You can tell your friends and family about a podcast that you like, or if there was one specific piece of a podcast you thought was funny, you can share it. Good Pods has taken really good care of us. They put us on their front page for 2 days this season, which was fantastic, and we really needed it with the short episodes. So Good Pods HQ on social media, goodpods.com, I believe, is their web domain. They have a brand new app that just came out. It's awesome. So check it out. Make sure you follow and like Popcorn Tribunal on there. Leave us a review, all that fun stuff. Let's get to the serious conversation topics. First and foremost, why has the show changed a little bit? So we've had some issues with the market that we're in. We are in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's where we record our podcasts. So when we say indie podcast, not only do we mean not large, backed by major conglomerate podcasts, we also mean indie podcast recorded here in Indiana. And for some reason, major studios think that Columbus or Cincinnati is a bigger market. So they've pretty much shut down pre-release screenings here. So I have to pay for every movie that we go see. And this is why sometimes our reviews are delayed. This is oftentimes why our reviews are delayed. So I am out of pocket for every movie that we go see. For 90% of the movies that we go see, producer Chris is out of his pocket for all of the recording and editing that he does for us. And we really appreciate that. And one day, fingers crossed, we will pay him back in droves. So it's been a difficult year. We discovered that we would be included in email and digital screenings if we became a member of a journalist association or some sort of a film journalist association. There's a National Film Journalists Association, which has something like 990,000 members, or it's a crazy number. And their requirements to join are astronomical. They include publishing in major publications across the United States before you can join, things of that sort. So clearly we can't join that. But then the local one here, we've spoken about numerous times. And this is not an opportunity for myself or producer Chris to shit on the Indiana Film Journalists Association. I reached out to them a few months back because we were notified from the studios that in order to be included, we needed to be a part of a journalist association. Some major studios said that we could not be included in screenings because we were not a part of this association. So I reached out to them. It had been probably 10 months to a year since we had last expressed some issues with members of the IFJA, or really complained. And I reached out again. Actually, I think it was a year almost to the date that I reached out. And I said, hey, look, we've changed our content. We've been really careful about the things that we're saying about the IFJA members. Blah, blah, blah. What is it going to take for us to sit down and have a conversation about myself and Blaha and producer Chris becoming members of the IFJA? We are literally being excluded because we're not. And their response was, not now, nor ever in the future will you be considered for membership. So the last time we talked to them a year ago, they responded with a list of specific things that had been said in the first 5 seasons about IFJA members in that email. Like they'd been keeping a running tally so that if we ever applied for membership, they could just throw it back in our face. And I was very upset when that happened. Chris and Blaha were probably more so upset. And it's just because I get it, right? I get it. But to me, a professional organization doesn't do that. It gives people an opportunity to make changes. And the problem is our experience hasn't been all encompassing with the IFJA members. One of the former hosts of this show is a member of the IFJA. There was some conversation I had with some IFJA members around the Palestine and Captain America movie issues recently, and the boycotting, and is it okay for us to cover that and still cover the protest in Palestine based on personal feelings and things of that sort. We ended up making the choice not to cover it. I have a fairly decent relationship with a couple members of the IFJA. But the problem that I don't think they wanted to hear was that there are members of that organization that have treated us extremely poorly over the years. And this is pre-talking shit. Why are podcasters here was some of the early talk, and then they started bringing in some podcasters and started some of their own podcasts from the group. And then about 2 years ago, I was notified by one of the studio reps that 2 specific members of the IFJA were contacting their companies. There's 2 major companies. And both of the companies had been contacted by IFJA members asking why we were allowed to come to screenings, saying that the podcasts that we were putting out weren't journalism and that we shouldn't be allowed to come to the press screenings. When I reached out to the IFJA for membership around that time, I let them know that. They asked for specific names. Both of the studio companies would not give us the names of the people, so I couldn't give them the names. But I talked to the representatives, and I know the names of the people who did it. And I am above calling them out and stating their names. But to receive an email saying that not now nor in the future will we ever be considered, I just want to express one thing. And that is, when you have a group that has membership the size of the IFJA for a small Indiana film journalist community, everyone's experience with every individual member of that organization is not going to be the same. So when we're sitting in a theater and we just watched a movie like Batman, and we hear a group of journalists sitting behind us talking about how the movie was shitty because it didn't look like a comic book movie, and we disagree with that, we should be allowed to disagree with that. And we should be allowed to say to these people, I don't know, man, I feel like it wasn't made to look like a comic book movie and was more of like a graphic novel movie. That conversation happened. And that conversation led to 2 of those people going back to the studio representatives trying to get us kicked out of screenings and not allowed to go see screenings. And I know this because I heard one of the conversations and I verified it with the studio representative. So for us to be denied membership into a group that realistically we didn't want to have to be a part of, right? Because, you know, we have achieved a status on our own without them. We have won awards 2 years in a row, the best movie podcast. We were listed on Good Pods in the top 100 top 50 of the top 100 Hollywood podcasts. So, you know, we've achieved these statuses without them, but we need them in order to be included, because the perception is that this organization is what matters when it comes to being allowed to be a journalist. That's messed up. I even thought about starting an organization on my own for new media creators, people who are TikTok or YouTube only or podcasters, but I just don't have the time to do that. So being told that not now nor ever in the future will we ever be considered for membership into the IFJA, it's bullshit. And since they said not ever, I can say that now. I don't really need to be humble or professional in any capacity, but I'm going to, because while I can be an asshole in real life, I'm not trying to be an asshole right now. But the fact that there's a list of things that we've said over the last 6 years, it means that somebody listens to our podcast. And if that person is listening right now, just understand that my experience over the last 6 years with the individuals in the IFJA has been absolutely both ends of the spectrum for multiple members of the association. And despite that experience, we still understand that being a part of the IFJA is a benefit. And it makes me a little sad that we'll never be included. So, that said, what does season 7 look like without a market that is included in screenings or not being invited openly to all of the screenings? Luckily, I've established some friendships with studio representatives, and sometimes they'll text me and say, hey, we've got a screening coming up this Tuesday, and we'll try and go. So I appreciate both of you. You know who you are. So season 7. So the frequency, I would like to get more consistent. So I would like to record an episode and get it released pretty consistently across the season, the cycle. Will we have as many episodes as we have in the first 5 seasons? I don't know. Depends on content. Depends on what we've got. Blaha will continue in the seat next to me. Producer Chris, as long as he's willing to, will continue to be our third soul. He's become kind of the heart and soul of the podcast. Most of the compliments we get are about him, so don't tell him that. But the format will change a little bit. We're going to start talking a little more about pop culture and video games and things that we don't need special requirements to be involved in. But we still will talk about movies and streaming services. Netflix is more than happy to give me access to their streaming platform. Apple TV Plus gives me access to their press platform, so I can see things there before they come out. It's the in-theater things that we're going to be missing out on. But we will do our best to serve up that fresh content to you as soon as possible. We will continue with the same partners we have signed for another year with both Space Panda Delta and Glitch. We will continue to promote our friends at Pup and the Pepper. We will continue to promote Chris. But things will look a little different. We're also going to try and bring a little structure to the show, because that will help our editor, right? Because right now we're just kind of shooting from the hip, and it's been kind of what I think has been the personality of the show. So I think having a little more structure will take a lot of stress off of Chris from the editing standpoint. And it will also help us kind of pare down the show from an hour and 25 minutes an episode to, maybe an hour or just under. So that's what the show looks like for season 7. We'll probably do more written reviews through the website. We just have to do what we can do to overcome what I call a concerted effort to stop our production. We're 7 seasons in. We've been voted best movie podcast in the country. We've been voted best movie podcast in the UK, in the fucking Philippines. Yeah, my goal for season 7, I'd like to join a podcast network, whether that's something as big as Wondery or Spotify or SiriusXM or something smaller. Mike Birbiglia has a podcast network, and I'd really, really like to join one of them. What that'll do is that will provide us a little better access to resources that we don't have access to now, in the hopes that that will overcome our lack of inclusion now or in the future for the IFJA. So Know this, I will continue to, on our socials, promote events that the IFJA is involved in because we are in Indiana. And the film culture in Indiana is fantastic. The Heartland Film Festival is one of the largest film festivals in the nation, and it happens here in our state. So there's no reason for me to not promote events in the film industry that happen in our state. I just needed to express my issues and my concerns, and I will never understand how one person's opinion can take down something so important, but I'm allowed to have an opinion about specific individuals, and being able to speak about them without naming them should be my right. So we'll continue to act as the film school dropouts. That's our thing, right? We have a merch line called Film School Dropouts. Find it at popcorntribunal.com. Because that's what we are. I got accepted to film school. Blaha was not a film school. Tyler graduated from film school at Liberty University. So we are the Film School Dropouts, and we are Popcorn Tribunal. Thank you to Chris for that amazing name 6 years ago. It was like the second thing you recommended, and it was perfect.
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's crazy. Dude, this is season 6, and we do one a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But we will continue as Popcorn Tribunal. We will continue talking about movies. I will continue paying for these things out of my pocket. And hopefully one day we can find a way to pay this man for all of the work he's done for us. I'm sure his wife would appreciate that. So thank you, Chris, for all the tireless work that you've done for us. We appreciate you. Thank you, Blaha, for taking over the seat vacated when Tyler moved and started a family. And thank you to everyone that's listening and everyone that is watching. We love each and every one of you, and we appreciate you for being here and for listening. So this will be the end of season 6. Right before this, the episode right before this will be our Oscar recap. And give us a couple weeks, and we will start up season 7, and we'll see you there. Chris, do you have any final words for season 6?
Oh.
Yeah, fuck Trump. We can say that.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you can edit that out.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other thing to note here is Chris is a white man, Blaha is a white man. I am surprisingly Mexican, but there's a chaotic culture in our country right now here in the US. Those of you listening outside of the country definitely have a different viewpoint, but I just want to state for the record, rest assured, we support and are allies for every member of the LGBTQIA community. We believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion only serve to strengthen everything about our country, everything about ourselves as individuals. And we do not support the fascist regime that is currently in office. And we will continue to speak loud and proud about the things that we love, about what America has provided for us. But just remember that every one of us that is here was an immigrant at one point. No one here is going to be the same. We are all literal snowflakes in this melting pot that we call America. But the cool thing about snowflakes is no one snowflake is exactly alike. So that diversity, the equity, and the inclusion that is referred to as DEI, say all three of them, man. Don't say DEI. Talk about it, because it's what makes us what we are. And we are behind that, and we support that in every capacity. And I will not be moving to Canada, because I will be doing everything that I can to fix our broken democracy. And I know for a fact this man, producer Chris, has very strong feelings about that. And I know for a fact that Blaha is the wokest amongst us, and we support him for that. So once again, that's who we are, and we appreciate you being here. And we do know that there are some of you that don't share our views, and that's fine. Doesn't mean we can't like the same movies. Doesn't mean we can't talk shit about the terrible streaming show on Prime Video, right? We can agree on a lot of things. We don't have to agree on everything, as long as you have fun when you're here. So once again, thanks, producer Chris. Blaha, thank you at home. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you. We'll see you next season.